Title: The Missing Student Who Sent Emails After He Vanished. Discovery: It began on a rainy Thursday in late October, a month before winter break at Hollow Ridge University, a quiet, wooded campus in northern Minnesota known more for its forestry program than anything else. Students describe the town as peaceful, isolated, and easy to disappear inside if you needed space. Ethan Carrow, a 21-year-old sophomore majoring in environmental science, was well-liked but quiet, the sort of student professors remembered for perfect attendance and an almost meticulous calm. On October 14th, Ethan failed to show up for his morning lecture for the first time all semester. His professor noted it but didn't raise concern. College students oversleep. It happens. But by evening, when Ethan's roommate returned to their off-campus apartment, the worry began. The front door was locked. Ethan's keys and wallet were inside. His bicycle was still chained to the railing outside. His phone lay face up on his desk, powered off. His laptop was closed. Nothing was disturbed, and Ethan was simply gone. His roommate, Noah Barnes, later told detectives something strange. There was no sign of struggle. No packed bag. Nothing missing. It was like he stepped out for a minute and just never came back. The campus police opened a missing person report, but the tone was cautiously procedural. No evidence of foul play, no signs of distress. Yet interviews revealed something unusual in the days leading up to Ethan's disappearance. Several classmates recalled Ethan appearing increasingly distracted. He had started avoiding crowded places, sitting in the back corners of lecture halls, scanning doorways like he expected someone to walk in. One friend mentioned seeing him at the campus cafe, leaning close to his phone, whispering, "No, I told you stop. I can hear you, but stop." But no one followed up. People assumed stress. Anxiety. The typical quiet breakdowns of academic pressure. The first real shift came 5 days after he vanished, when his parents logged into his student email account with permission from campus security. There was a new message, time-stamped at 2:13 a.m., addressed to his own inbox, as if he were writing notes to himself. The subject line read, "I hear them again." The email contained only one sentence. "I think they finally found the vent." Police initially believed Ethan wrote it before disappearing, until IT confirmed the message had been sent after Ethan was reported missing. And the IP address didn't trace to campus. It traced to a closed section of Riverside Hall, an academic building that had been condemned 4 years earlier due to black mold and unstable flooring. A building Ethan had no known access to. This discovery shifted the tone of the investigation from routine missing person case to something far more unsettling. Officers entered Riverside Hall the next morning at dawn. The building was dark, silent, and stiflingly humid. Mold-streaked walls, collapsed ceilings, and dust-coated floors made every step leave footprints. Yet one room on the second floor stood out. A classroom in the center of the hallway where all the dust had been disturbed. Chairs were moved. A single desk faced the wall. And scratched into the paint, under a layer of grime, was a message. "Don't look through the vent." No one had seen Ethan since. But clearly, someone had been inside that building. And they didn't want to be seen. Escalation. Police initially believed the email was a hoax, some other student accessing Ethan's account, trying to create drama around the disappearance. But two details changed that theory almost immediately. First, the login wasn't a password entry. It was a physical login from Ethan's laptop. The same laptop that had been found in Ethan's apartment, powered off. Second, each time the email was accessed by investigators, a second, anonymous login would appear, watching simultaneously. Someone was monitoring the investigation in real time. The digital forensics team tried to trace the second viewer's connection, but each attempt caused the activity to vanish instantly, as if the watcher pulled away the moment they knew someone was looking back. Detectives requested access to Ethan's phone. It revealed dozens of voice memos recorded in the weeks before he vanished, short, breathy, uncertain recordings. Often just ambient noise, a dorm hallway at night, water running, pages turning. But occasionally Ethan whispered, softly, frantically, like he believed someone was standing just out of view. "It's not voices in my head. It's the vents. They talk through the air system." The walls aren't empty. Another recording, recorded at 3:41 a.m., just 7 days before he disappeared. Sound of faint breathing, mechanical hum of dorm ventilation. They know my schedule. They know when I'm alone. I don't think they follow me. I think they were already here. He pauses. You hear him step closer to the vent above his bed. I heard someone say my name last night. A faint click. A shift of metal. A whisper. Close. Too close. Ethan. The recording ends there. But students in the dorm reported hearing similar things. Strange hollow tapping inside the walls, late at night. Most assumed it was pipes expanding. Heating. Old infrastructure. They never questioned it. Then came the second email. Sent at 4:12 a.m., 6 days after Ethan disappeared. Subject, stop checking. No greeting. No signature. Just a single sentence. You don't understand what we are protecting you from. The message wasn't signed by Ethan, but the tone, the writing style, the punctuation matched his earlier classwork exactly. Not copied, not approximated. The emails kept coming, each one from a different abandoned building on or near campus, places students didn't go, places where no one should have been able to access networks at all. And every time investigators opened one, the anonymous watcher opened it too. Campus police increased surveillance, instructed students to move in groups, and sealed entry to closed buildings. But then one more thing occurred that shattered the assumption Ethan was simply missing. Noah, Ethan's roommate, received a message directly. Not an email. A scheduled draft, meaning Ethan had written it and programmed it to deliver on a future date. Its send date? The exact time it arrived. 6 days after Ethan disappeared. Noah opened it with shaking hands. If I disappear, don't look for me in the places that are locked. Look in the places you don't think to check. Not above. Not below. Between. Noah reported the message immediately. But that night, while sitting at his desk, he noticed something he hadn't seen before. The wall vent beside his bed, the one both roommates thought was sealed shut, had 4 tiny fingerprints in the dust on the inside. As if someone had been reaching from within. The investigation stopped being procedural and became something far more personal. Someone was watching them. Someone who knew how to avoid cameras. Someone who had been inside their rooms. And Ethan had tried to warn them. What happened to Ethan Carrow would never be fully proven, only reconstructed through emails, surveillance anomalies, and testimony from 14 students who later reported the same thing, being watched in their own rooms. The first real break came when a maintenance worker, tasked with sealing ventilation access across older campus housing, discovered something behind the vent in Ethan's dorm, a narrow service crawl space designed for wiring and airflow. But it wasn't empty. Inside the crawl space were food wrappers, a worn notebook, and 2 small fleece blankets, arranged neatly. Like bedding. Someone had been living inside the ventilation system. The notebook contained sketches of dorm rooms from above, rough charcoal views from the vents themselves, notes about when people slept, showered, which students stayed up late, which left early, which were vulnerable, and Ethan's name appeared over and over. But here is the part investigators could never explain. The notebook handwriting matched Ethan's. Perfectly. Every loop, every slant, every spacing. But the pages were dated after he disappeared. Digital forensics later proved the emails were sent deliberately, scheduled, automated, written over weeks. Ethan didn't send them while missing. He wrote them before he vanished. Which means Ethan knew he would disappear. Students believe one of 2 things. Either Ethan was being stalked by someone who lived unseen in the walls, or Ethan was the one in the walls all along, slowly losing the boundary between watching and being watched. Both explanations have evidence. Neither has closure. Ethan Carrow has never been found. And sometimes, during late-night midterm season, students in Hollow Ridge University still report hearing whispers through their vents. Sometimes their own names. Sometimes Ethan's. No one knows which is worse. Revelation. The investigation shifted from missing person to psychological intrusion, no longer about where Ethan went, but what he knew before he disappeared. Detectives returned to Riverside Hall, the condemned building where the first post-disappearance email had been sent from. This time, they brought a thermal camera and structural engineer. The hall was colder than any building of its age should have been. No heating, no airflow. Yet the vents rattled, softly, like something was moving inside. Down in the basement, behind a warped steel maintenance door, officers discovered the access opening to the campus ventilation network, a narrow crawlspace branching like capillaries across dorms, lecture halls, and unused wings. Inside the crawlspace, food wrappers dated weeks before Ethan vanished. An empty plastic water gallon with students' initials scratched into the surface. A fleece blanket folded with intentional care. And a notebook. The notebook was the key. Page after page of hand-drawn layouts of student rooms, exactly as they would look from inside the vents above. The sketches were not rushed. They were studied, observant, patient. What disturbed investigators was not what was drawn, but how the drawings were labeled. Each page included notes. He sleeps deeply, 2:14 a.m. to 4:51 a.m. She checks the door lock 3 times. Doesn't check the vent. He talks in his sleep. Says names. And on nearly every 3rd or 4th page, one phrase recurred. They don't know they're being watched. The handwriting was confirmed by a forensic analyst. It was Ethan's. Not similar. Identical. But the notebook's final page was the one investigators refused to release publicly. Only its transcript is known. Written in rushed, uneven strokes, unlike all earlier pages. I'm not alone anymore. I thought they were following me, but they were already here. They don't want out. They want someone to replace them. And below that, don't search for me. If you hear breathing in the vent, do not call my name. The university quietly sealed all historical ventilation passages 2 months later. New students were never told why. The official statement claimed air safety modernization. But students in older dorms, especially those on the 3rd and 4th floors of Maple Hall, where Ethan once lived, still report it. Not every night. Not even often. Just enough. They hear scraping, light tapping, soft shifting, a whisper of breath through the metal grate above their beds. Some say it sounds like someone moving slowly in the narrow dark, feeling their way through the vents by memory. Some swear they've heard a voice, very close, a whisper spoken with careful patience. A voice that sounds like a young man. A voice that says names. Sometimes it says their name. Sometimes it says, Noah. Ethan's roommate moved away, transferred, and refuses interviews to this day. But when a local journalist asked him what he believes happened to Ethan, Noah didn't hesitate. He didn't say someone took Ethan. He didn't say Ethan ran. Ethan didn't disappear. He just moved somewhere people don't look. Riverside Hall remains locked. Campus security still won't explain why motion sensors inside the building continue to trigger at night, long after the place should be empty. And every email Ethan scheduled is still being delivered, one by one. Years later, each one sent from places he could not physically be. Each one addressed to the same inbox he left open. His own. If you thought this story was terrifying, just wait for the next one, subscribe before it drops.